Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is Dan. Alright, in this video I'm going to be sharing with you a coffee plant that I'm growing here in the food forest. I don't really remember if I actually showed you when I'm doing my food forest tour, because sometimes there's so much stuff going on in the food forest that I do miss like a bunch of plants, that's growing in different areas of the food forest. But in this video, I wanted to share with you guys how I bought a 2-inch, it was about a 2 to 3 inches coffee seedling from Lodges about 2 years or 1 year and a couple months, to know the plant have grown up into almost 3 feet, so I wanted to share my journey with you guys. So and just give you guys some of the tips that I've used to get this lush, beautiful coffee plant growing the way it is right now. One of the things I did when I bought that seedling, I kept it in a container for the first year, and then after, the first year I planted in ground, so planted it in ground now, I got to make sure I have the right environment for that coffee plant to thrive, because coffee plants on the whole, but let me just give you a quick history. I remember, like, growing up in Jamaica and stuff, we as young teenagers, we would go on hiking trips with our camping groups, and I remember going up to the Blue Mountains, and we would pass the farmers with coffee, these big large coffee farms. And I can recall it's and not knowing those days when I'm doing those hiking trips, would never dream that I would be growing my own coffee, I have a food forest and all that stuff. So I kind of drive back my memory, remember where I saw all those coffee was growing before I even doing the research. And I remember those coffee growing underneath bananas, and they were more like in the shaded area, and where they were growing is a high altitude, up in the mountains, and it's always cool there. Like, I mean cool in the sense of, 65 degrees to maybe 75 degrees in that range, and the plants are beautiful. Jamaica is one of the #1 coffee producers in the world. So that environment that they have them growing in is working. So, adapting that kind of, even though we are not high altitude here in Florida, I could still take some of the stuff that I remember as a child, walk past in those farms, and so I kind of implement that here by planting the coffee underneath the bananas. Let me just show you guys. So we got a big banana circle here with a lot of bananas here, and I planted the coffee right here underneath the bananas. So even though we don't have the ideal, Florida is most time it's in the high 80s, and coffee, I tell you, even the coffee plant itself likes temperature between like 59 to 75 degrees, or 15 to 24 Celsius. It likes high humidity. It likes to be protected from wind. So that's another thing. My location that I planted it was, it's in a nice like a microclimate area. So even though it like that weather within like the 60s and the 70s, it still can take the cold weather, meaning if temperatures drop below 41 degrees, you're going to get a lot of browning on the leaves, and the plant going to just start growing extremely slow. Because even from research, most places that coffee growing is like real high altitude up to 3,000 feet. So how we emulate that here in Florida? We can't emulate altitude, but we could still emulate a growing area for it, which is like growing underneath the bananas in a shaded area, which it also could grow in full sun. But the full sun, I don't think it's not the full sun where you're going to be getting 90 something degrees or 80 something degrees. It's going to damage the leaves. Probably full sun in 60 degrees type weather. Yeah. And one of the beauty about, like the Arabica coffee, because that's the variety of coffee I'm growing, is self-fertile. And it's going to be true to seed. So whatever seed come from this coffee, I'm going to be able to plant, and you get back. You can plant more coffee plants, well-drained soil, which we have right here, and then a lot of organic matter, which is right under the banana, where I dump a lot of food scraps and everything is broken down. So it's actually feeding the bananas and it's feeding the coffee at the same time. All right, let's walk around and let me show you something now. Yeah, so this is a more closer look on the plant, but let me show you something down here. At the base of it, I'm like organic matter, which is, I'm using the rabbit manure too. So we have like a nice trunk going there, and the nice, the plant itself is looking real healthy, a lot of new growth, so very proud of the progression this plant. And as I said, we created a nice, put it where there's a nice microclimate. There's a lot of plants around it, so even when it comes to winter and it will drop below 40s, right here gonna have still probably be warm and nice and keep it in nice 55 degrees when it's in 40 something degrees outside. I know I'm probably going to get the question about if the coffee could actually grow in colder states. Yeah, you could grow it in a container or in a greenhouse, but once fall comes, because I mean anything below 40 degrees, it's going to start, you're going to see the leaves start getting brown, and it's probably going to definitely affect the tree. But if you in a colder state and you have a greenhouse that's going to stay 50 something degrees during the winter, go ahead, try. This is one of my experiment plants in the garden, because we don't really have the ideal environment for it, but I'm trying to create that environment for the plant, which I'll keep every one of you updated on the progression of the Arabica, coffee plant growing here in Central Florida. All right, so thank you so much for watching. All be blessed with peace, love, happiness, and kindness. One love. See you guys in the next video. Listen, enjoy the rest of the week as well. All right.